Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Cosden. I am the Director of Lifelong Learning at Congregation Emmanuel B'nai Yeshurun, and it is a pleasure to welcome you.
Bird. A little bit of cars. But
it's a pleasure to welcome you to our house today, where we are going to cook blintz souffles. The voices that you were hearing a moment ago were the voices of myself and my son. My son is going to be my camera crew today as best he can. And I'm very grateful that he is helping me today. So thank you, Joseph. Can you wave to everyone? Thank you. So today we're making blintz souffle. And unlike most blintz souffle recipes, my blintz souffle recipe does not begin with blintzes. So rather, some people call it a deconstructed blintz souffle. It will have a batter and then a filling and then some batter on top as well. So what you need for it, for the batter, you need 4 large eggs. And for there, you can have no substitutions. 1 1/4 cups of milk. I use low-fat milk. I don't recommend non-fat milk in that. Or you could use whole milk. 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Once again, unfortunately, I don't recommend the non-fat sour cream. 1/2 cup of butter melted. Once again, no substitutions if you want the best flavor. If you need to, margarine or something else would work. But as they say, the batter with the butter is the better. 3/4 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1 1/4 teaspoons baking powder. And we're going to actually, the first thing we've done is I have already started to preheat the oven. The oven is set at 350 degrees. And the next thing that I will be doing shortly is buttering my 9 by 13 baking dish. You could also, in this case, coat it with a nonstick cooking spray. That would be okay too. That's the other option for this. And yeah, so that's that. Okay, and then the butter is going to actually just go, the melted butter is going directly into my blender here. And you can either take hard butter, cut it all up, put it in the microwave, and then actually let it cool again a little bit in the refrigerator. Or mine is really just good old melted because it's been sitting out long enough. So I'm just going to put it in here. I'm going to take the next. I have 2 half sticks. So these are each 1/4 instead of usually they're 1/2. And instead they are 1/4. So I'm putting them both in there. And then what I like to do, 1/2 cup of butter. What I like to do is just use the wrapper to butter my dish. Do that. Because that way we're not letting anything go to waste. I'm going to take the second one and do the same. And obviously, as always the case when you're cooking, and all the more so now, I have already washed my hands, and I will probably be washing my hands as we go through this whole process. Okay, so I have it buttered. And actually, it looks like I have to pull it. Oh, no, that's that. Okay, so that is buttered and it's ready. So once again, I need a napkin. Can you get me a napkin? Thank you. We're going to pause for a second. Thank you so much. My hands are too buttery to work the controls of my computer. There we go again. Okay, so I have my butter in here already. And now I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. I have 4 eggs. I have a bowl to put my egg shells in. 1 Preheat Shavuot. Can you get me another napkin? Arba, 4. Thank you. Chag Sameach to all who have joined us already. Now, the reason why we're making blintz souffle today is tonight is Shavuot, and Shavuot is a dairy holiday. So we're making a lovely, yummy dairy dish, and I love it because that's when you get to use the butter for those of you who are keeping kosher. Okay, so I have my eggs. I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup milk. And I actually have here 3 different measuring cups just because it's easier for all that I'm doing. There we go. A little bit more cleanup, but that's okay. Now we're going with 2 tablespoons of sour cream. I tried to have breakstone, but because of ordering for delivery, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So I just messed up that expression, but that's okay, close enough. So this would be 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Instead, I get to do a daisy, do a daisy. 1 and 2. And we will use this to get more of the cream cheese in there. Sour cream, excuse me, not the cream cheese. Later. There we go. Beautiful. And then after the sour cream, we've already done the butter. Now we have the vanilla. And it calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, I don't know about you. I absolutely love vanilla. And I am known when it comes to recipes that when it comes to vanilla, I go a little over. And that is okay because it's just so good. So we have the vanilla. And now 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. That doesn't need too much. Just a little too much. I am known for not being the cleanest when I cook. I make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay because I can clean it up. There we go. Okay, so that's 1. And then we have 1/3. I was always taught to bang it down. There we go for 1/3. And then 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, for those of you who I sent the recipe to, or the things to buy, you'll know that I actually said a whole cup because you're going to use the other half a cup in the other part that we're making. So first we're making the batter and then we're making the filling. So there we go with that. And then 1 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. So we have 1. Now, unlike the vanilla, here I try to have it be an exact 1 1/4. So someone is sharing that, did I know that you could order double strength vanilla? No, I actually did not, and I look forward to trying that soon, especially from my favorite store of spices from Penzeys. So I will have to check into that. Okay, so I'm taking all of these things together, and now we're going to go into my kitchen where I'm going to use the blender. On the way, we're going to make sure that you can still see me. So we're going over to the kitchen. Okay, and provided the blender would like to go on the stand, there we go. There we go, here we are. We're going to turn on the blender. And this recipe calls for at least twice while you are using the blender to push down the sides to make sure that, for instance, the sour cream doesn't get stuck just to one little section, or it doesn't get stuck on the sides, but rather it can go into the whole recipe. So I'm going to check for a moment, see how we're doing on all the sides. One side feels a little bit harder. So I want to make sure that I get everything. I already have a paper towel down for my spatula. I'm going to do it one more time. And what I'm doing is just trying to get a smooth consistency, get out as many lumps as possible. And once again, making sure that nothing is sticking to the sides. And making sure I keep as much of the batter as possible. Bang it one more time. Okay, here we go once more. Okay, and now okay. Excuse me for 1 second. I realized I forgot my pan. So now I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to take a little less than half. I'm going to take about 1 1/2 cups of the batter. So I'm at 4 cups right now. So I'm going to go down to 2 1/2 cups. And I'm going to fill the bottom. And you could do swirls. You could do anything you want to entertain yourself in terms of how you put it into the pan. We're going to see where we are right now. Oh, wow. We are exactly at 2 1/2. That works out great. So now I'm going to put the batter back over here. because we're going to use more of it later. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the oven. Once again, preheated at 350. Going to put it in the oven for 10 minutes. So that should be around 254. I'm going to wash my hands again because why not? I'm here. I don't know about all of you, but the amount of times that I wash my hands these days, I heard that you have to do it at least 6 times a day. And I am wasting water. And I am way beyond that. So I'm going to sing now. Happy birthday to you. 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 Okay. And feeling even better. So now we will go back into the other room. And we will, luckily I have paper towels everywhere, and we will make the filling. I feel like I should be singing. Let's all go to the lobby. Okay. So now, I'll turn this a little bit this way. There we go, better to see. Okay, so you need a big bowl now. And I'm going to pull up the recipe again. So for the filling, you have a couple different options. I gave you the most traditional one. It has 16 ounces of ricotta cheese. You can use any type you want. By the way, if yours is 15 instead of 16, is not the end of the world. That would still work as well. I'm going to take my ricotta cheese and I'm going to put it in the bowl. This is certainly not a low-calorie dish, although I know of people who have said that on any Jewish holiday, there are no calories whatsoever. So go with it, run with it, enjoy all your dairy food. You can have your cheesecake, you could have your ice cream. It's a fun holiday unless you're lactose intolerant. Okay, so we added our ricotta, and now I use cream cheese as my second one, and I have 1 brick of cream cheese, which is 8 ounces. Other people have used farmer's cheese as well, so that's another option that you can use. And we're going to see if it lets me tear where you're supposed to tear. And some people use 2 helpings instead of 1 helping of the cream cheese or the farmer's cheese. I use 1, but you could have even more filling and do it with 2. So we're going to add cream cheese. And of course, later I will recycle everything that needs to be clean things and then recycle them. And then I'm going to add 2 more eggs. This time you could use eggs, or some people use egg substitute in this part, a 1/2 cup of egg substitute. That certainly works as well. However, not in the batter, so only for the filling. And then we add another 1/2 cup of sugar. Once again, can I have another paper towel or napkin? My son was already getting it before I've been asked. Thank you so much, Joseph. Okay, so we're going to do another 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, you could cut down on the sugar. Some recipes call for as little as 3 tablespoons of sugar, but most of those recipes end up getting a lot of comments about it needs to be sweeter. So just throwing that out there. And then we're going to do 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon. Obviously being mindful of seeds. Now, this recipe can be found in various places. One of the places I've found it is Epicurious. It's also a recipe that's done at Moosewood in Ithaca, New York, one of my favorite places. So that's another option. And I see that unfortunately one little seed decided to still go in there. And I got it. Excellent. Okay. And we take the other half of the lemon and we squeeze it as well. Some of you might prefer using a place where you can actually squeeze it, a citrus to get you a citrus juicer. Having grown up in Florida, I love citrus juicers. And once again, I will have to get out some seeds that have decided to fall in. Sometimes, to make sure that I don't have seeds that fall in, I end up using a paper towel or a napkin or a cheesecloth to wrap around my lemon, but I did not this time, and this is why you use it, specifically not to have the seeds. But there we go. So my hands did not go in it. Okay, and they've been washed. Now, here's my secret ingredient. Lemon zest. I like zesting my lemon because, well, it's just so yummy. And it adds extra flavor, a little bit more lemon specialness, juiciness, flavor to the filling. Now, not everyone likes zest, and I realize that. So if you do not like zest, if it is not to your liking, by all means, don't put it in. But it's something that I think is really great as long as you don't zest your own hands. Some people would therefore zest it before they squeeze the lemons. I sometimes do it that way. I did not this time, so it's a little bit harder. And some of my zest is flying all over my dining room table right now. And that's okay too, because I can clean it up. Okay, so once I've zested, all I need to do now is mix it up. So I'm actually going to use whip. And you're just going to mix. You're going to mix it till it's really mixed up well, till you get out as many lumps as possible, but a few lumps is certainly okay. And Joseph, did I say 255 or 254? Do you remember?
For what?
The oven.
That was 256.
You think it was 256? Okay.
I thought I recall a 6.
It's okay. We will go 256 then. A couple minutes does not matter very much. Okay. So we're going to mix this up a little more. Gives you a little good arm workout. You may want to use each arm therefore. Give them each a good workout. Now, you could make it easier on yourself. You could use an electric version to do this for you. But I like doing it by hand. Okay, let's see if there are any questions. Okay. Okay, so now, oops, we'll have to clean my chair too, it appears. Now we're going to go back to the kitchen. First, we're going to cover that up. And we are combined everything. Now, we're going to make sure I'm in the picture. Yes, but I was missing part of my head. By the way, I never explained. I am wearing a hat because when I cook, I don't like having my hair have any chance of getting into any of the food. So this is instead of wearing a hairnet. Okay, so now we're going to take a base out of the oven. If I can put on my second glove. Oh, it looks great. Looks beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to leave the oven on. We're going to close this so that we can leave the oven on. We're going to leave the oven on and take off the gloves. And we are going to spread the filling right on top of the base. Now, here's where you can be creative, because while this somewhat looks like it is baking, it is still part of the cooking process. So bakers have to be very precise in everything that they do. And some people love specifically baking because they love that precision. Other people really love baking and cooking because they love doing the more creative stuff. So that's why there are baking shows and there are cooking shows, and you see them being very different, but you can be creative in both, right? There are, I mean, if you look at the British Bake Off, incredible things that they do that are very, very creative, and yet they still have to be meticulous in all that they are doing. So in terms of the creativity with this, some people at this point add some things to it. So I know people who add blueberries, or they add strawberries, or whatever you feel like adding to it. Some people do some of the filling and then the berries and then more filling. So you can be as creative as you want in that area. And now, before we put on the top, we're going to once again just whip it up just a little bit more because it's been sitting for a while. We're going to do that. Yes. It wasn't on that all the way. And now we're going to, well, first I'm going to unplug because I don't like leaving things plugged in. Now here's the key. If I were to just pour this on, it would mess up this layer. So you have to very gently, very slowly, basically drizzle the batter top onto it. So this takes some time. You can see we're doing a pretty good job of covering. Sometimes I like to then go this way. Part of it is entertaining yourself as you're preparing it, right? Now, I've covered the top. And this and do this. This. Now, I talked about Penzeys earlier. It's a wonderful spice company that's in Wisconsin, which I did not even know it was from Wisconsin when I moved here, and I was already using them, but I love their stuff. You could put it in the oven. You could put it in the oven right now. However, I like to add cinnamon and sugar to it. So I'm going to add some cinnamon.
Oh, Lisa says hi.
Who says hi?
Lisa?
Hello, Lisa. Nice to see you. Wish I could see you. Lisa Goldstein?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Lisa Goldstein. Hope things are well in Texas. And now, instead of just regular sugar, here's one of my other secrets. I am using vanilla sugar. Because as I said, I love vanilla. Okay. Now, putting my gloves back on, I will put this in the oven. And here's where I can tell you something. It says that you put it in the oven for about 40 minutes. Now, I have found when I put it in for 40 minutes that when it comes out, it's way too wobbly. So I find that really more like an hour, maybe even a little bit longer, is better. Putting it in. And because I've watched enough cooking shows, I already have one so you can see what it looks like out of the oven. So there we go. Voila. This now has been sitting a little bit outside so you can see it just had a crack. It did not have any cracks earlier, so I apologize for that. But the neat thing about the cheesecake souffle, the blintz souffle when it's ready, the cool thing is it slices up really nicely. So you can serve it this year at home to your family. And in future years, if you are going to a Shavuot potluck or something else, it really slices up and sits up pretty in lovely little squares or rectangles, so you can use it. And there you go. I hope everyone has an amazing Shavuot. I hope that you spend tonight getting ready to receive the Torah, and that tomorrow is a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you at Mount Sinai with all of our friends and all of our family. See, we were virtual thousands of years ago already. We've been virtual for thousands of years as we meet at Mount Sinai every year. So with that, Chag Shavuot Sameach, and it is a pleasure to see everyone. Special love to Gloria in New York. Anyone else that I should be saying hello to, Joseph?
Andrew joined.
And Andrew, pleasure to see you. And to all those who are watching on Facebook, or who are watching at the Temple's website, or who are watching at YouTube, thank you so much. And for those of you who are going to watch later, thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, I'm even modeling our Milwaukee Jewish Community apron for you. And thank you, Milwaukee Jewish Community, for giving me this lovely gift when I arrived in town. So with that, Chag Shavuot Sameach. Have a great day, and looking forward to seeing you at Mount Sinai in the morning. Bye-bye.